To make the best investment decisions, we have to understand where we are in this market cycle. And the belief and the optimism and the greed and the euphoria is so much there that I feel like, ooh, this is getting a little tricky maybe. So let's take a look and let me know in the comments where you think that we are. I think that most people think that we are now in the disbelief stage. The disbelief stage is basically where a lot of people say like, hey, this rally isn't gonna last and this is not real, and that's actually the beginning of a new cycle. I'll try to keep this unbiased, but let's take a look at a couple of charts that might indicate what Bitcoin could do. And although you might not really care about Bitcoin, we all know that if Bitcoin goes down hard, altcoins go down hard as well. So indirectly, this is for everything in crypto. If you already like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. I'm here every single day. And let's take a look at a couple of indicators. So the first thing I would like to take a look at is this Gaussian channel. And this Gaussian channel is pretty interesting because we are, during the bear market, we were way below this channel right here, and we got absolutely destroyed like we always get in bear markets. However, since March, April, we went back into the Gaussian channel and we stayed above this this middle line right here, which was a very strong indicator that Bitcoin was, you know, holding up very well. But then it's not really crunch time. Like, it's not necessarily saying what it's going to do. Now, in October, it was really in October. It was a beautiful month for Bitcoin and crypto in general. We popped out of it and we are now well above the Gaussian channel right here. So what I am looking at right now is how did we do that in last cycles? Because we can, like, I'm not much of a fan of looking at the news or like the specifics that make this coming bull market a bull market, because you know, the market does what the market does, and yeah, whatever the news is that makes it that way, yeah, whatever, we can see it in the charts anyway. So I'm not really much of a news follower. What I do think is really interesting is the cycles, because with the S&P or the Nasdaq or whatever, we have decades of information that cycles are very intact, and that the market moves very cyclical. Therefore, this has been traded in Wall Street for like so long already. And yeah, here there's good news and here there's bad news, and yeah, whatever the news is, that's whatever the news is. But this is how a cycle moves, right? So what I'm interested in is looking at like, hey, what did Bitcoin do in the previous cycles when this happened? So let's go to the cycle in 2015-16, where we first went into the bear market and we were way below the Gaussian channel as well. Now, what's interesting right here, we popped above it as well in October, November, kind of where we are right now. And what we at least did was go back to retest the Gaussian channel and also the bull market support band before we went into a bull market, but we did not fall below it anymore. However, in the cycle after that, we also were way down below it. We broke above it, also kind of, you know, mid 2019. So again, it's very cyclical how these 4 years play out. Then what we do is, you know, we fell below it, but this was a black swan. And we got printed out of that very fast. Now, I'm not saying that a black swan can't occur, right? There could, like, a Bitcoin is not going to 10K in my opinion. But when we were sitting here at 14K, yeah, people were also saying like, yeah, Bitcoin is never going back to these 3K kind of levels, right? And although we didn't find the exact bottom, we went to 4K. So we almost made a double bottom. That could always occur, a black swan this time as well, which, you know, makes it happen. Like, that makes charting completely irrelevant for that specific move then. But, you know, let's take that disclaimer with a grain of salt. Like, let's not assume that will happen, but be prepared. And what I mean by that is, I'm not assuming that Bitcoin will have such a flash crash. But I am prepared. So if it does happen, I always have some money on the sideline. I saw a poll lately somewhere in the Telegram group, and they asked like, "Hey, how much of your money is in stables right now?" And so many people said like around 0 till 20%. That I felt like, dude, so many people are completely fully invested into crypto right now because they think that it's now doing this. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've seen this before, where the market shows you that it's really turning bullish and everybody goes fully into crypto, and then it has that smack in the face. Like that. That's what the market does, right? So be a little prepared for that, though. But if you do not think about this, the COVID crash, we still went back into the mid band of the Gaussian channel anyway. So the first cycle, we touched the upper band, and in this cycle, we touched the mid band. So, so far, it is very likely to say that that could at least happen. Now, where would that be in this case? We don't have a forecast on how this is going to go, but let's say it's kind of moving with the bull market support band, give or take. That could at least put Bitcoin back at 30K. And if we go to the mid band, which is currently sitting at 25K, by then maybe 26, 27. So, if we compare it to what happened previous cycles based on this indicator right here, it is definitely a possibility for Bitcoin to see around 25, 30K again. Now, could it still go to like 20? Again, I am not trading news. But I do consider it very important, and I'm not gonna ignore the fact that there is likely a recession coming. And people say like, yeah, Bitcoin never been in a recession. That's not completely true. This was a very short recession right here, and it didn't went well for crypto right there. But we got printed out very fast, like $6 trillion in the market. Yeah, that made it go up like crazy. But if we do get a recession, which is probably going to last longer than this one, hey, we don't know how it's going to react. So therefore, I said, like, be prepared for everything in this case. Now, what's quite interesting is that the total three, so if we take a look at the altcoin market, how did it do last cycle? Well, we went below it. And it took a very long time for it to break out of it. We went below it here in November 2018, and we broke out of it in July 2020. So that took like 1.5 years, slightly more than that, to break out of it. And while Bitcoin was breaking out of it here already, the altcoin market didn't do that. And we went all the way back down. We tried again, and we went like below it. Now what we are doing right now is we broke below it in May 2022. So almost 1.5 years that we are below it, and this is now really the first time that we are testing this level. And it's quite funny if you see exactly where the total three is getting rejected. So if you do not think about the Gaussian channel right here, then yes, the altcoin market is looking quite bullish if you compare it to where it was, because we made a higher high. Nobody can take that from us. The higher high is here, right? And although it was just a wick, at least so far, right? We had this wick right here, and it got sold off pretty quickly. And this week this week it's like we're a couple of hours in this week so far. But now we tried again, and it looks like we have some trouble right there, right? So yeah, this is a big resistance area for altcoins. This is a huge resistance area for altcoins, for sure. Like, yeah, this was the resistance over in April, but if you take a look at this complete range right here with these wicks here, this here, this here, this here, like it's a complete area of huge resistance. And therefore, if you look at the caution channel, yeah, that's exactly where it's getting rejected right now. So I thought that's quite interesting. I haven't really seen anybody talking about that so far. But I feel like, yeah, this is something to consider. And if we go back to the mid band in this case, we could go all the way. And that's also where the bull market support band comes in by then to 300 and let's say $70 billion. So that's around a 13% correction from here. Now, I know what you think, like, yeah, a 30% correction on the altcoin market, that's just a regular Tuesday probably. But you have to understand that this is the total three. This also includes stable coins, and they don't go down that much. Your actual altcoins go probably down twice as hard. So 25-30% correction on the altcoin market, at least when we look at this chart, is to put it like this, quite likely, because there's also a lot of just horizontals that come in right here as support, and we had such a hard pump right here. Usually it doesn't happen without a really healthy correction, and that's actually good for the market. So that's quite interesting. Now, if we go back to Bitcoin, like, what the fuck happened to my chart right here? Let's remove everything. Okay, sorry for that. So if we go back to Bitcoin right here, and we look at the logarithmic regression band, that's also quite interesting. So this is a chart that if you want me to hear, if you want to hear me talk bullish about Bitcoin over the long term, yeah, you want to see me pop up this chart right here, right? What's interesting, in my opinion, is you see exactly how the bull and the bear markets move and where they top and bottom out. We had the bull market in 2013 topping out in this upper band. The bear market bottomed out in the lower band, and we stayed there for a long time. We came in here in March 2015, and in May 2017 we came out. So 2 years that we have spent right here. Now, we topped out here, of course, perfectly in December 2017. We came in the lower band in November 2018, and we broke out of it in November 2020. So what 2 years right there. And we touched it here as well. Not exactly at the end of 2021, but we had our first technical top in April. And there we went to the upper band again. Now, we fell in this lower band in May 2022. So could it be that we will break out of this in around May 2024? It's not that far from now. It sounds like very far. May 2024. It's like half a year. It's not that long anymore. And that's already quite bullish, because you should understand that the breakout right here was at $1,700, but when we came into it, it was sitting at $200. So even though we were at the lower band, yeah, the lower band is moving up, right? Here as well, we came into it at around 4 or 5K, and we broke out of it at 15, right? Now we came into it at 33. Yeah, that's kind of where we are right now as well, right? Nothing has really changed. Let's say we break out today, that's 30 or 60, $65,000 already, give or take, right? So that's very close to the previous all-time high. Now, it's quite funny because here, $1,700 was pretty close to this all-time high. Here, that 15K was pretty close to this all-time high. So by the time we break out, yeah, it might be that we will be sitting way higher. And what happens in the meantime, hey, we'll see. It could move very fast from here, especially when we get an ETF and institutions are stepping in. We have the Bitcoin halving coming up. These are positive things. In the meantime, it could go down, of course. But I am slowly changing, like I said before, like the closer we are getting to the halving, the more I'm comfortable with the thought that Bitcoin won't go much lower, because it's not just a game of prices, but also a game of time. And time is super important when it comes to crypto, if you believe in how cycles move. So, for all we know, we can go back down to 30K and then pop all the way up to 45. Like these are moves that could happen over a matter of like 3 weeks, and we have half a year to go, give or take, if we look at this. So much could happen in the meantime. Now, how does this affect altcoins? Well, that kind of depends, of course, because yeah, like I said, like if Bitcoin goes up, altcoins go up in general, and if it goes down, altcoins go down in general as well. But it does really matter how much this Bitcoin thing right here is dominating the complete crypto space, and therefore we should take a look at the Bitcoin dominance. Now, let's take a look at what happened in the previous cycles with the Bitcoin dominance. If we look at the 4-year cycle. So at the 4-year cycle, we could see that the end of 2019, so that's comparable to the end of 2023, the Bitcoin dominance, it was also ranging right here between 60% and 50%, kind of as we did right here between 50 and 40. We ranged there for a while. We broke out, and that's really where the dominance topped out. Right, and then going into the halving, which was around here, the Bitcoin dominance finally started to go down a little bit. Had a last run, really went up like hard, and that was mainly because Bitcoin was in a raging bull market at that point, and then the altcoins could catch up and finally had their move. Now, what I'm seeing right now is quite interesting about the Bitcoin dominance because it's in a major uptrend. Which means that, you know, altcoins are now doing well on the dollar pair, you know, because Bitcoin already did well on the dollar pair like half a year ago. Bitcoin already 2x'd, and now altcoins are finally 2xing. So everybody seems really euphoric about altcoins, but, you know, they have a major delay, and overall they're getting completely wrecked against Bitcoin. Like they haven't been worth the risk against Bitcoin. So there are always outperformers or underperformers, but if you take the collective altcoin market, you put them together and you look how they perform against Bitcoin, yeah, then they're not doing so well. Over the last couple of weeks, they do. But then again, you know, nothing goes up in a straight line. We had this run right here, and there the dominance went down as well. We had this run right here, and here the dominance went down very hard as well. Now we have this run right here, and now the altcoins have been doing very well. But overall, what I see is basically, you know, nothing else than major support at this level. Sorry, I have the hiccup and I don't know what's wrong with me. And if we remove this, look at this. We have this. This is interesting. We had this run. We topped out right here. We had some problems. We broke it, but we came back down to retest this. Right? Now, what did we do? We had this run, and we went back down to retest this. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this is a huge uptrend still. And it might as well do something like this, breaks it, goes down to this level, and then continues its runway up. This move up might happen because, if you want to relate some news to it, because we get the ETF, right? Because the ETF is likely to going to get approved within 2 months. Well, we have seen the fake ETF news, and that was a blast for the Bitcoin dominance, right? Bitcoin went up, but the dominance also went up. So, like being in altcoins, yeah, okay, it was nice, but Bitcoin gained way more, right? If we now get the real ETF, yeah, then of course it's going up. And that could really, also when it comes to time, this could play out over the next 2 months. And it makes perfect sense, actually. Now, that's actually quite bullish for altcoins. Because what I've said before as well is that if you want to see an alt season, for the people that don't know what an alt season is, that's where the dominance goes down. Like here, we had a big alt season, right? If we now go down, yeah, it would be it would be an alt season. Although I don't see the reason now exactly why we should go down. But that would be an alt season, but not a huge one, like not like this, right? At least if we get to this level and then it goes down, then we have quite a big one. And not as massive as we had over here. But I don't know if we will get that though. I don't know if we will get that in the first place, um, because it was really that, you know, there were less altcoins back here and less good altcoins. And then when they came, so everybody was in Bitcoin, but and when they came, yeah, people shifted it from Bitcoin into altcoins. Now people still, you know, despite the whole bear market and despite altcoins getting wrecked and this and that, people still hold on to their alts. So there is less money to go from Bitcoin into altcoins in the first place. And lately, people have been shifting their altcoin money into Bitcoin because they have seen that Bitcoin is just a better performer these days. But overall, I do think we won't see that big of an alt season unless there will be such massive news for Bitcoin or the ETF will do way better than I expect it to do and we go back to these levels. But if we do, yeah, in the meantime, alts get completely wrecked. But if you are prepared and you do have some Bitcoin, you can put it in here then to put it into altcoins. And then if we ride the wave down, yeah, you can really change your life for the better. That's kind of what I'm looking at. So on the shorter time frame, I do expect the Bitcoin dominance, well, either to bounce here or maybe go a little lower, but eventually go up more. On the longer time frame, let's say the coming 2-3 months, I expect it to at least go to 57-60%. Then I wouldn't be surprised if it goes down. And this is already where I will put a lot of my Bitcoin into altcoins, though. When it comes to the price of Bitcoin, a good correction is I don't know what I have done right here. It pasted everything that I have like, but for Bitcoin itself, I do expect a pullback to 30, give or take, over the maybe coming, maybe over the rest of the year, probably. But that's what I expect. Like, hey, maybe it's going to be completely different and it's just like going to go up right now. I mean, we have a long way to go up to the Gaussian channel or to the logarithmic regression band to even get out of this. And yeah, that's going to happen, in my opinion, at least between now and a year from now. So that would mean new all-time highs for Bitcoin in 2024, or at least close to it. So that's what I think. The altcoin market in the meantime, yeah, like I said, the total 3 had some issues here at this point. I do think we will see a decent pullback to at least retest some levels. And that would be a good buying opportunity, I think. They have bled against Bitcoin, and that's what I've mainly been speaking about, right? That altcoins were not doing well against Bitcoin, and I sometimes get these comments like, yeah, you know, you said you should not buy altcoins, and look now. But I also said, like, yeah, you should not buy it because Bitcoin is doing better, and look, altcoins are now still down 45% against Bitcoin, so you know, this move has played out pretty good. And I still, when the ETF comes, I expect this to go down at this level. Not to the lower side. I don't think that's going to happen, but at least right here, give or take. And that's where you really should be looking at converting your BTC into alts. And if we look at altcoins on their dollar pair again. You know, the total 3, it is like still in this range. Like, yeah, we made a higher high, but hey, I mean, we can even take it from here, right? We could still go up, but have major resistance there. As soon as we break this level 470, then I think it's really getting bullish. In the meantime, we have seen these kind of moves more often, right? And they always had a correction. I can't imagine where it's a market where it's up only, basically. And one last thing, if we look at others, which is quite bullish, then this is what I see. So the others, that's the top 125, excluding the top 10. So no stables, no Bitcoin, no Ethereum, at least no USDC and USDT, not the big stables. This is a more fair representation of the altcoin market, and Yeah, what I noticed as well is that what we did in last cycle, we came down, we bottomed, and we were sitting at this range, and we topped in this range right here, right, like crazy. It looked like we were going to break out, came back down, tried again, had that COVID crash, fucked us all, and then we broke out. Now, what we did is we came into the level, tried to break out, went back down, tried again, and there should be something that at least like pushes us down one last time before we really have the breakout, in my opinion. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? We'll see. But this is how I'm looking at it. So long term, majorly bullish. I think that altcoins are gonna make us a lot of money. Um, but I would not advise, buying the top. I feel like a lot of people are now these days saying like, yeah, buy now and then buy Solana, and I feel like, oh, but Solana just like did a how many X, and you're gonna buy it now? Why didn't you buy it then? Like, if you wanted to buy it, why buy it at the market peak, right? Like, I'm not buying. I love Solana, and I definitely think it's going to do great, but I'm not gonna buy at the top, right? Like, if I rather sell it than buy it now. And I think a lot of people are basically waiting to sell. And I'm not going to offer myself as exit liquidity right now because I feel FOMO. Like, that's not how you should approach crypto. You should do it the other way around. Wait for a good pullback. They always happen. And then it's maybe a good time to get in. So I want to leave it there. Guys, if you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter, by the way. I'm a lot more active there. And it looks like we're getting the founder of Seedify for an interview once. So I love that. That is like, I will be honored. And if you have any questions for him, just drop them in the comments so I can pass it on. Because that's my favorite project. They can take all my money, and I feel blessed to have him soon. So thanks for watching again. Take care.